A young mum vanished from Tolaga Bay.
She was seen walking to the river mouth by an eyewitness.
They said that she was seen at the end of the wharf.
Her disappearance a mystery.
Have grave concerns for her safety. She's been reported missing. Her whereabouts are unknown.
Now police say Jamie Kaiwai's disappearance isn't suspicious. But her whānau disagree. Jamie is a 27-year-old mother of one. Since she disappeared in October, her grandparents, Eru and Elaine Kaiwai, haven't stopped looking for her. They live next to the Uawa River, which flows into Tolaga Bay, with its iconic 600-metre-long wharf. Once a thriving township, Tolaga has seen better days. Many whānau have cut a track to the city. But Jamie did the opposite. 12 years ago, when she was still a high school student in Rotorua, she reached out to her grandparents.
I get a call, Nan, can I come and stay with you? I said, okay, if you can come and stay with me. So she came and finished off her high school at the local high school. It wasn't perfect, you know. We were sure we had our rows because Jamie is very strong-minded and she didn't like discipline. She rebelled against us, but she was good company, you know.
Good company too for her cousin, Jonique Oli-Alainu'uese. They were born just days apart.
And me and her were really close. Me and her and my sister were all very close, and we stayed in contact quite a lot. She's a good mother and she's a really good heart, really genuine person.
Did she always keep in touch with you guys?
Oh, yes, always.
Always.
Yeah. She always came back to us.
Yeah.
She always came back to us.
But last October, Jamie didn't come back. She's been missing ever since.
Now we're looking for Jamie Kaiwai, 27-year-old female from Tolaga. We have discovered her vehicle in the car park at the wharf. So we haven't given up hope to find Jamie. Yeah, and we're really concerned. So let's hope that someone may be able to give us some information.
But 10 days later, search and rescue stopped looking. Police telling the family Jamie's disappearance wasn't suspicious. There was no body, no suicide note, just a whole lot of unanswered questions.
They said that she was seen at the end of the wharf, and that was it. They didn't say she jumped in the sea, but I suppose they wanted you to say that she went into the sea.
It's a scenario that can't be ruled out. A year earlier, Jamie suffered a breakdown and was committed to hospital, losing the guardianship of her only son.
We didn't know, until that time,
Didn't have a clue. You don't look for mental health, do you? It was never displayed.
She was always very happy, but it wasn't until probably the end of 2018 that it really took a turn for her, or that we noticed enough for me to be like, she needs to go to the hospital. That was when her first known psychotic episode happened.
It's not known what triggered that episode, but the family were aware that Jamie was using cannabis. The police have said the case isn't suspicious. And I guess with her, occasional drug use, with the mental health history, what is it about that you can't accept?
What I can't accept is the lack of investigation surrounding her disappearance.
And that's because police didn't perform important procedures in the days after Jamie's disappearance. Firstly, they didn't secure a potential crime scene, Jamie's car. Nor was the car or the room where she lived tested for fingerprints. Instead, they formed the view Jamie's disappearance was unexplained. Can you accept that she may have just disappeared like that?
No. There's got to be something else alongside this.
Is it a feeling you have?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a feeling. Yeah.
Jamie had been living here at the Tolaga Bay Inn. She had a part-time job downstairs, working on a community project for small businesses. Those she worked with before her disappearance say Jamie was happy and had a real sense of pride in her work.
She was happy in her job, and she started wearing makeup, and I seen a photo of her and she had done her hair up. She was dressed really nicely and bought new shoes for her job. So those were things that she was looking forward to.
So what happened to Jamie Kaiwai? With seemingly little action from police, Jonique began her own investigation. Her koro, who keeps a daily diary, made a note that Jamie was meant to come for dinner on the Tuesday before she disappeared. So you saw her for lunchtime and she was coming back
We
for
saw her
dinner?
at lunchtime and told her to come back for tea. Oh, that was the last time we saw her, when she walked out the door there.
On Sunday the 13th of October last year, 5 days after Jamie had missed that dinner date with her grandparents, her blue Nissan Tita turned up here at the Tolaga Bay Wharf. It was found by Māori wardens early in the morning. They were here for Tuia 250, so there were boats and waka moored out there in the bay, and locals say there were plenty of people around everywhere. So how did her car turn up here and no one spotted it? And where was Jamie between Tuesday and Sunday? There seems to be some confusion around the last sightings of Jamie and her vehicle. Police say Jamie was last seen on Thursday at a local petrol station and that her vehicle didn't leave the car park after Friday. But Jonique says she was initially told it wasn't there the night before it was found.
On Saturday, the local police was having dinner at his friend's house and he could see the car park, and he told me himself that her car wasn't there. And then so the next day on Sunday, the Māori wardens had come to do their checks. This was before 5 o'clock in the morning, and her car wasn't there. But between 5 and 7 after that, her car was there. And that's when the police were called, my papa was contacted, and so forth.
The family say Jamie's car battery was dying. Her car needed to be started regularly.
If you didn't turn it on within 24 hours or even within 12 hours, her car would die, and she'd always call Papa, "Papa, can you come jump start me?" And when my papa went to pick her car up, it didn't even skip a beat. It turned straight on, and immediately my papa goes, "No, her car's been driven," because it turned on straight away. That was suspicious to me, and that was suspicious to him and the rest of our family.
8 weeks after she vanished, police returned Jamie's belongings to the family, including her phone, which had been left in her room. Jonique was shocked to discover the phone had been used after Jamie disappeared.
There was some usage after she had been missing, and I told the police, and that gave them enough reason to then go and get a court order for her phone record. But hadn't I have done that, I don't feel like they would have gotten the phone record or would have even looked further in.
What have they said to you about what they found?
Nothing.
So she dug deeper and eventually cracked the password for Jamie's laptop.
So this is a timeline from her Google account that was connected to her phone. And I stumbled across here somehow, and then I was able to track where she had travelled if she took her phone.
What she found was strange. In the weeks leading up to her disappearance, Jamie had been driving long round trips up and down the coast.
I can see the distance she travelled and how long it took.
So 83 k's up north, took an hour and 40, and she arrives at Te Aroha.
So she didn't stay there for very long.
Then a week later, a 9-hour round trip to Hastings. And do you know that location?
Well, I know where it is, but I don't know who lives there.
And then she stayed for how long?
About 5 minutes.
That's right, a 9-hour round trip for just a 5-minute stopover. I decided to check out the address where Jamie had visited that night. Well, that was interesting. The family that I spoke to there said they'd been following the Jamie Kaiwai story on Facebook. They didn't know her personally, But they couldn't rule out that other people associated to that house and to that whānau may know something more about her visit.
She stopped at these towns, and it's only for a short amount of time, 5-10 minutes. Then she's on to the next one, and they're just round trips, and then she just comes home. None of that makes sense to me. She's got no reason to be up there, and especially why would you drive to all these towns for 5 to 10 minutes?
What did you suspect was going on?
I personally think that she was moving drugs. I could be wrong, but to me that's what I think she was doing.
What do you think of the police response to your cousin's disappearance?
I've been disappointed. And look, I'm not asking them for a miracle. I'm actually just asking for the bare minimum. And I feel like what they've given us isn't even the bare minimum.
And that's one of the many reasons she's not prepared to give up her search for Jamie.
I can't let go yet because there's too much that's wrong. And there's too many things that we could have had answers for if it wasn't for the incompetence of the police. I do feel like a lot of things we could had been able to take into account had they done those simple things like fingerprints, phone record earlier. And I understand that in some deaths, suicide, whether it's foul play, that it's not always going to add up, and I might never ever get what I'm looking for. But I have to try.
After the break, we invite investigator Tim McKinnel to review Jamie's case. Do you think Jonique has cause for concern?
I think you have to take very seriously a credible family member who's worried and doesn't have all the answers.
Jamie Kaiwai disappeared from Tolaga Bay late last year during the Tuia 250 commemorations. The town's iconic wharf was inundated with visitors here for the Waka Flotilla.
You know, every now and again, I still have a tangi for you. You might hear something or song playing. You think of Jamie and I have a cry.
She vanished without a trace, and while police consider her case not suspicious, her family think otherwise. Why do you think Jamie hasn't had the same coverage?
I do think it's because of, who she is, like mental illness, drugs, Māori. And I feel like it's really easy to look at someone that has drug addictions and mental health issues and just be like, must be suicide.
She's travelling late at night. I'm meeting with Tim McKinnel, director of investigation company Zavest. Her car has been found here on a Sunday morning. No fingerprinting on the car. And then the search and rescue starts.
So it seems to be an assumption that she's gone into the water. If there's no fingerprinting done, there's no forensic testing of the vehicle, anything like that. It seems to me like fairly early on they've formed a view about what they're dealing with.
Yep.
Well, for a homicide investigation, if you have a person that's missing, then everything is treated with great forensic care. So you lock down scenes, you look after vehicles, you test them, and so it becomes a fairly labour-intensive and resource-intensive process. A missing person is different. There's often urgency that goes with it, but it is a search and rescue where they are looking for a person.
So in Jamie Kaiwai's case, from the limited information that you've seen, do you think Jonique has cause for concern?
I think you have to take very seriously a credible family member who's worried and doesn't have all the answers. We have somebody like Jonique who has reasonable questions and some evidence on which she bases those questions. I think you need to take it seriously.
Is there still time for her, given that they didn't lock down all those places and cars and fingerprints?
Well, I think it's never too late. You might not get everything you would have got if it was treated as a homicide right from the very beginning, but I think there are still opportunities to collect evidence.
Tim believes the stigma around mental health can impact the way police investigate these sorts of cases.
I've seen occasions where somebody who has some mental health issues is treated in a way that is different to somebody who doesn't. And so with mental health, there are certain risks attached to it, and they might include self-harm and suicide and those sorts of things. But I think somebody with mental health issues is potentially also more vulnerable to foul play. And so I think police and investigators should keep an open mind at all times when they're dealing with a missing person with mental health issues. There's a whole lot of things that you'd want explanations for.
Tim's agreed to take a look at Jamie's case. He's arranged a Skype meeting with Jonique to share his thoughts. So I've come back to Hastings to be with her when she takes his call. So this is Jonique, this is Tim.
Hello, nice to meet you.
You too, Jonique, nice to meet you.
I kind of just want to know, because I've really been made to feel like I've exaggerated this whole thing. And for me personally, knowing Jamie and knowing that these kind of movements and how she was acting and where she had been aren't where she would usually travel or things that she'd usually do, I've really felt like me trying to explain that to police, I've just been cut off. And so I don't really know what to do from here.
Yeah, I'm sure it's really difficult. You know, there's no set way that missing persons are dealt with, but one of the things that you should expect is open and frank communication with police. You've done incredible work putting together and getting together what you have and what you've sent through. It's really amazing. But as you'll be aware, there are gaps in the information, and one of the questions for us now is how much more information is available that perhaps the police have that you don't know about. I mean, it's all very well to say there's nothing suspicious, but what process have they been through and what inquiries have they conducted to reach that point of view? I deal with cases like this from time to time, and your questions are completely reasonable. I think you deserve these answers, and I'm happy to help where I can, putting things together so you can ask direct questions, get direct answers. If we're not getting those direct answers, then we'll work out what to do next. There are a few things we might be able to do. But I think let's just keep pushing and see if we can push things along in the next couple of weeks and get some answers, some clarity.
So we'll be in touch, Tim.
Sounds good. You know where to find me.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Tell me what you took away from Tim McKinnel's kōrero.
I now feel like that I can do more and I am entitled to answers to the questions that I have, whereas before I felt like my questions weren't valid.
After the break, we put Jonique's questions to police. Would you accept that people with mental health are also vulnerable to foul play?
Absolutely, yes.
And could that be the case in this situation?
Look, anything's possible.
The police have told the family that Jamie's disappearance is not suspicious. They've told Jonique it's time to step back and allow the family to grieve. But Jonique and Jamie's grandparents refuse to give up.
Some said, hey, ha paratia tēnei kaupapa. Ia kanui tēnei. Kongoro e wai out. You know, how can you forget a thing like that? This is us, this is our grandchild. Hey, missing. You know, what happens if it happened to you? Would you let it go? I roto ngā kōrero, peka I roto the morn, ko tron, and yet the karatū papaku.
With that in mind, I'm going to meet with Inspector Tamuera Aberahama to put the family's questions to police. When we started to look into the story, the Kaiwai whānau hadn't heard a lot back officially from police. But since we've been looking into it, Jonique has recently had a visit from a detective who shared some information with her. I guess my question is, why has it taken so long?
I suppose the challenge has been that throughout the course of this investigation to date, there has not been one liaison officer. There has been a number of officers, from the local cop to the family harm senior sergeant, to the OC investigation, to the search and rescue lead. There have been a number of people engaging with the whānau the father, with their cousin, and with the wider community. But we want to ensure that the whānau are fully kept up to date going forward in this investigation.
So what do police think has happened to Jamie Kaiwai?
We truly don't know what has happened. We need to keep an open mind. The investigation has always been open. We're awaiting some testing that is coming back from ESR. Everything's been tested.
So did you secure the vehicle and secure the room? Did you take the fingerprints and the forensics that are needed?
So no fingerprints were taken. Obviously, items were taken from both the vehicle and the room, and those...
Why not? Why not fingerprints?
That was a decision that was made at the time by the officers. It was felt that perhaps people had been near and around the vehicle, and for that reason it wasn't examined.
So normally someone's gone missing, the vehicle's there. Wouldn't it make sense to seize it, to, forensically go through it, take prints from it, and same with her room?
So the room was examined and...
took fingerprints and...
No fingerprints were taken from the room, but the room was examined. We didn't have a DNA sample for Ms. Kaiwai, and so we got some items and we sent those away.
Was there anything suspicious in the room?
No, there wasn't. We had officers assigned to do a full scene examination. There was nothing of suspicion that caused us to be concerned as a result of those examinations.
Did they find any blood in her room?
Yes. Blood in her room and in the car, yes.
Is that not suspicious?
That was sent off for testing, and we're waiting to hear the results back on those.
Did you find anything on those, on the phone and the laptop?
So we sent the phone and laptop off to our high-tech crime group in Wellington. They couldn't get into both the phone and the laptop, so they could not get into them.
You do realise that Jonique was able to get into the laptop almost immediately?
I understand that was through a Google account, through her Google account that she got in.
But she was able to open the laptop up, get past the password, and then get into her Google account?
Oh, no, I'm not aware of that. No.
I guess she has, and that's why she's been able to get through the emails and get onto her Facebook and all those kinds of things. So I'm just kind of wondering how much effort was put in by the high-tech crime unit at police when somebody who's a 20-something old mum can just kind of get in there, crack
As I said, I understand that she got in through her Google account and into that. That's how I understand. But
she was able to actually get into the computer, which I would assume was what your crime unit was trying to do.
Absolutely.
Would you accept that people with mental health are also vulnerable to foul play?
Absolutely. Yes.
And could that be the case in this situation?
Look, anything's possible. But our investigation to date, and we've spoken to a considerable number of people, have not led us down the path to this being suspicious.
Do you think police have done everything they could have done for this whānau?
Yes, I do. And my aroha goes out to the whānau. I know there are concerns from the whānau. We need to remain connected. I'm more than happy to meet with the whānau and ensure that going forward we remain better connected, perhaps, and my aroha goes out to them.
Not all of us are human. No wonder every day is such a big adventure.
Good reading.
The police response has left the Kaiwai whānau with more questions than answers, and some that can't be answered by police alone. Questions Jonique has about the value society places on vulnerable people like Jamie and how we respond when they go missing.
Why isn't she on TV? Why is no one interested in her? What are the things that make her not important? And to me, it was almost like they brushed her off as a no one, but she's everything to us.